Hi everyone, Sponge here. Today we're going to talk about how interpreters practice listening in a different way and the psycholinguistic theory behind it. This video is a little bit long and academic, so thank you first for sitting through. Before we begin, think about a problem that all of us had, or still have. We listen to an English sentence. The words sounds familiar, but we couldn't recall the meaning instantaneously. By the time we do, we have missed the next two sentences. Why? It starts with Daniel Geale's famous effort model that depicts what is going on in a simultaneous interpreter's mind when he is interpreting. The model has many variations, so I will use a simplified version that goes like this. The interpreter hears the source language and analyzes messages out of it. Then he produces the interpretation in the target language. In this process, he may have to turn to short-term memory to produce interpretation, and finally, he needs the energy to coordinate these activities. I know what you might be thinking. Let me show you how it works. Words in conferences are nothing like a daily conversation. When you hear 你叫什么名字, you can interpret it into what's your name in an instant. But at a conference, you're more likely to hear something like this.
那么，鉴于在去年年底的时候，整个资本市场波动仍然比较大，我们全系列的资产总体仓位仍然保持相对比较稳定。那么按分账户的资产情况来看，那么截止到12月末。整个资本金账户的资产市值是20.27亿元，那么负债驱动资产类的产品账户，资产市值是3.47亿元。
This is an excerpt from an investment meeting I interpreted for. When you receive such source language, your brain starts to analyze it and process it into a message like this. If the interpreter understands the source language but couldn't find the proper equivalent in the target language quickly enough, like he forgets how to express 仓位稳定, he will end up struggling and doesn't have the mental energy for listening and processing incoming messages. Let's say he hesitates for 2 seconds, and he will face 3 choices. First, stop interpreting 仓位稳定 and continue to listen to the next sentences. 2. Keep thinking until properly interpret 仓位稳定 and abandon 按分账户的资产情况来看. 3. Keep thinking until properly interpret 仓位稳定 and memorize 按分账户的资产情况来看 and interpret later. If he chooses third way, which is the best way for the audience, he will need memory efforts, because 2 seconds later, the speaker is probably at 资本金账户, which means there are more than 15 characters of EVS, or ear-to-voice span. The longer the span is, the more memory efforts it takes. That is why interpreters need coordination efforts to balance attention among those activities. In real-life tasks, most interpreters, including myself, use earbuds or on-ear headphones rather than over-the-ear headphones, because when I interpret, I only use my left ear to listen to the source language and the right ear to monitor my own production. Earbuds or non-ear headphones are easier to remove. Coordination efforts works here too. So this is the effort model. Simultaneous interpreting takes listening and analyzing efforts L, speech production effort P, short-term memory effort M, and coordination efforts C. The problem is that one's efforts, or cognitive capacity or mental energy, is not in unlimited supply, which means if you are not so proficient at one part and uses more energy on it than you should have, the performance will deteriorate. That is why interpreters have to learn expertise, which speeds up listening and analyzing and saves the energy for other parts. In diplomatic settings, sometimes we see interpreters only work from the mother tongue into the target language because they can deal with listening and analyzing almost automatically and focus more on the memorizing and production. So, compared with selective listening that you see in many English texts that require you to capture certain numbers and pieces of information, the CATI requires examinee to demonstrate the capability of message extracting by writing a 200-word summary after listening to a 600-word article. In short, interpreters practice listening with a primary emphasis on message extraction and a wise allocation of mental energy, so they wouldn't get trapped in unimportant nuances but lose the main idea, win a battle but lose the war. So this is the psycholinguistic theory behind interpreting and why you should practice listening differently if you want to be an interpreter. And we will talk about how to practice listening by this standard in the next video. So thanks for watching this. Please subscribe and like if this is helpful. And if you have any questions, email me at the address in my profile, leave it in a comment, and we'll see you next time.